at the sound of the ringing guitar chords, it's a sign that you must be tuned to the SongBike Guitar Q&A live stream here on YouTube. Hey, everybody, how are you doing? Happy day after Halloween. I hope your month is going well so far. My name is Jonathan. We're starting on time. What could possibly go wrong? I got show and tell. I got a bunch of stuff to teach you. I'm here for your questions. I hope you have a bunch of guitar-related questions. Put your questions in the chat. Put a bunch of question marks in advance of your question so I know that your question is aimed at me. I got my Color City Guitars t-shirt on. I'm ready for you. You want to learn something right away? Of course you do. Let's do it. No need for chit-chat. Let's just get right into this. Why wait is what I want to say to you. Okay, not only is this something kind of cool, and it might even be a little bit familiar, it's also a great way to get us warmed up. Hey to everybody who's in the chat already. Scott, Wingo, William, hello. So let's check this out, you guys. This is a great way to get warmed up. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Stand by. I'm going to zoom in on the top line right there. There we go. But it's also a good challenge for your musical ear. We are about to arpeggiate 7 chords in the key of G. Coincidentally, the chords are also known as 7th chords because instead of just playing G major, we're going to play G major 7. Instead of A minor, we're going to arpeggiate A minor 7. Okay, here's how the first 4 notes are going to sound. Just focusing on those first 4 notes. Hear that nice jazzy effect, right? Thanks to that very last note. Okay, so what is your job? Grab a pick. For the moment, you're welcome to do this with all downstrokes, but I encourage you to graduate to down, up, down, up, down, up picking. What I really want you to focus on is your fretting hand. See how the subtitle there says second position? What does that mean? Second position is my way of telling you to have your index prepared to play any second fret notes. The implication is that your middle finger will then play any 3rd fret notes, your ring finger will play any 4th fret notes, and guess what? Your pinky will play any 5s, okay? You are going to be in that position for this entire page, for this entire lesson, second position. Do not allow any fingers to reach up a little bit higher. Your ring finger is going to be tempted to reach up and play the 5s. It's your pinky's responsibility. Your middle finger might be tempted to reach up and play the 4s. It's your ring finger's responsibility, okay? So for the most part, I'm not going to be telling you which fingers to use, at least not too much, because I'm hoping that you just heard what I said. Second position for your fretting hand. Okay. By the way, those first 4 notes sound great in reverse as well. And the reason why I'm staying with the first 4 notes is if you can play the first 4 notes comfortably with confidence, then you can play the whole page, right? So I want to talk about the physical stuff you're going to get, the physical benefits you're going to get from this, and then a little bit of the music theory and a little bit of the ear training as well, you know? Okay. So middle, index, pinky, ring. Your fretting hand just got to work out. All 4 fingers each got used, right? That's the perk of this page. Chances are you don't have it memorized yet. That means you can't look everywhere. That means you have to trust something. I encourage you to trust your picking hand. In general, you do want to develop more and more faith that your picking hand will find the right strings. And guess what? It will. It will get a better and better sense of radar. The second 4 notes that are labeled A minor 7, it's like we took the first 4 and lifted them up a little bit, right? And the last 4 notes labeled B minor 7. It's a very pretty sound, right? It's an appealing sound. I'm going to play the first line all the way across. My hope is that when you're practicing this at home, someone in your household will say, oh, that sounds pretty. What is that? You and I know that it's essentially an exercise, but it has a nice jazzy melodic sound and it sounds like it could be something, right? It's pretty. You can improvise, by the way. I'm going to take those first 4 notes, the G major 7 notes. I'm going to improvise with them for a second. Right? Sounds like a nice little jazz guitar solo. Okay, so physically, both hands are going to benefit, but we're especially doing this for your fretting fingers. Okay, musically, what's going on here? We think of chords as a grip, because that's how we're taught, right? We're taught a D chord is this grip. But I want you to expand your definition of what a chord is. A chord is a very specific group of notes that can be played by any instrument, right? Way beyond what a guitar player thinks of as a chord. So a G major 7 chord, you might say, I don't know how to play G major 7, I'm confused. Don't worry about that. By playing the 4 notes, those first 4 notes, you are playing the 4 ingredients of a G major 7 chord. For the moment, don't think about the G major 7 chord as a certain grip that you do on the neck at certain frets. Think of a G major 7 as a G note plus a B like Bravo, plus a D like Delta, plus an F sharp. If it makes you feel better, that's how a trumpet player would imagine a chord. A trumpet player can't play a chord the way we do with multiple harmonious notes at the same time. But it doesn't mean a trumpet player doesn't conceive of a chord. They conceive of it as individual notes, right? Most people, especially people who don't play stringed instruments or piano-related instruments, they think of chords as the individual building blocks, in this case, G, B, D, and F sharp in the case of that the first 4 notes. So the definition of arpeggio is you play a chord bit by bit, note by note. You break it into pieces. That's all. So don't get too hung up on the names here. The names are interesting, but that's not why we're doing it today. We're doing it for the physical practice of your, especially of your fretting fingers. The reason why I'm choosing to do G major 7, A minor 7, and so on, instead of just G major or B minor or whatever, every chord labeled on the page is a 4-note chord. How many fretting fingers do most of us have? I hope we got 4 fretting fingers. So by arpeggiating these specific chords, major 7 chords, minor 7, by arpeggiating those chords, every finger is guaranteed to do a useful task. And in terms of training your ear, you're now opening your ear up to a more harmonically rich sound, right? Jazz chords. These chords are not exclusive to jazz, right? But you can't play jazz without these 4-note, richer sounding chords. Does that make sense? I just played that first line. I'm giving it my own little rhythm. You can have fun with the rhythm. Bottom line, your fretting fingers are going to improve. Your ear is going to be pushed a little bit, potentially, unless you listen to a lot of jazz-related music. Your ear could kind of open up a little bit to accept these richer harmonic sounds. You're going to trust your pick, trust your picking hand, I hope, so that, as you get more and more consistently accurate picking out these notes with less looking at your right hand, at your picking hand, it's going to help you develop a great sense of radar, with your pick. The guitar is unique in some ways. Your eyes, the guitar is a very visual instrument, but your eyes can't be everywhere at once, right? You have to look at the screen or the paper. You have to look at the left hand. You have to look at the right hand. Even though we have 2 eyes, you still can't look at 2 things at once. You got to trust something. My vote in general is to trust your picking hand. Unless you absolutely have to look at that, maybe because your fretting hand is staying stable and all the excitement is coming from the picking hand dancing around. You get the idea. Hey, Bruce is in the chat. Hey, Bruce, and happy birthday, Byron. Byron, thank you for being here. Happy birthday, Byron. Bruce, you didn't say how old Byron is, but Byron, happy birthday from all of us in the U.S. to you way down there in Sydney, Australia. Happy birthday, Byron. Hey, aren't you up kind of late? I guess it's your birthday and you are allowed to be up late, right? Hello to Joseph, checking in from Oklahoma City. William checking in from Texas. Thanks for being here, everybody. Okay, so I'm going to scroll up just to illustrate what's going on here. In fact, I might zoom out and scroll up. Okay, I'm going to zoom back out a little bit. The PDF that you're looking at on screen here, there we go, is available for, or will be available after tonight's live stream for members of my website, song-bike.com. We'll talk about those chords at the bottom momentarily. So my challenge to you is to get so good at this page that you can start at the top and play smooth, steady quarter notes. You could do all downstrokes. Again, that's okay with me. All the way from top to bottom until you get to the last, bottom of the page. Staying true to playing in second position. Smooth and steady, no mistakes. Second position, nice clear notes. Ideally, you wouldn't be looking at your pick at all, right? That's my challenge to you. You can always make it harder. You can go faster. You can play with a metronome, right? You can mix up the order. You can jump around a little bit. Arpeggiate the G major 7, but then jump to the C major 7, back to the A minor 7. There's all sorts of ways of making it more challenging. How about play the whole thing backwards? Start at the bottom of the page. Play the whole page backwards. Lots and lots you can do. Down, up, picking. Play it faster and faster and faster. Okay. Questions, comments? Let me know in the chat. Why are there chords at the bottom of the page? I will tell you. Number one, I hate leaving white space at the bottom of a page. I'm a teacher, and I see white space as a opportunity. So Bruce is clarifying about the birthday party. Byron is turning 10, has turned 10. Friends sleeping over, they didn't sleep. And my wife and I are barely alive this morning. I'm so sorry, Bruce. I'm sending you thoughts and prayers, as we say in the U.S., thoughts and prayers, and coffee or your chosen caffeinated beverage or just healthy beverage. Good luck. So my idea behind putting chords at the bottom of the page is this. Those of you with loopers, or those of you who just record yourself on your phone, if you have some method of recording yourself, you could take a couple of chords and make a loop. The 5 chords at the bottom of the page are 5 of the 7 chords that you've been arpeggiating throughout the exercise. So to give you an idea how you could use this lesson plan beyond just what's written on the page, imagine making a loop or a recording of yourself strumming the G major 7 chords. Let's say that chord 8 steady downstrokes, followed by the A minor 7 8 steady downstrokes. So we're gonna make a loop: G major 7, A minor 7. The loop would sort of sound like this: 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then there's the G and A minor. And I said G and A minor. Really what I'm playing is G major 7. A little awkward, the G major 7 grip, but you can do it. And A minor 7. That's what we're really doing. The reason why we're not playing just boring old G major and A minor is we want to reflect these arpeggios. You'll see what I mean in a second. So imagine you have this loop, 8 counts on the G major 7 and 8 counts on the A minor 7. Now you can begin to improvise on top of those chords using the arpeggios. So during the G major 7, 8 counts, here I go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And now I'm going to switch to the A minor arpeggio. 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm on the G, and here's the A minor 1. Right? I'm improvising, I'm having some fun. My left hand is getting a workout. My ear is getting a workout. I got a jam thing going. The looper that I paid $100 or $200 for, I'm starting to get my money's worth out of it. Remember, you can just record yourself on your phone. If you record yourself on your phone, you want to record yourself for at least a solid minute, right? Just so you can, you won't have to keep stopping and starting. Although I'm trying to think, my voice memo app on my Samsung phone, I can set it to loop. Oh, now that I think about it, I can set it to loop. Huh, interesting. I was about to say, does anybody know about a looper app, like a free looper app for your phone? And I'm still curious if anyone here knows anything about that. But now I think about it, I can do it on my phone. Huh. Okay, I'm not going to do it right now, but yeah, you can do it on your phone, even without a looper app. Just, I know on my Samsung, I can do it. Although I'm going to try it out later. All right, so that's why those chords are down there at the bottom. You could write a tune, essentially, using those 5 chords and improvise over the tune, or actually compose a melody using the arpeggios as the foundation of the melody. That makes sense? You get that? Okay, you might notice that there are only 5 chords at the bottom, but I omitted the B minor 7 chord, and I omitted the F sharp minor 7 flat 5 chord, partly because those are somewhat oddball chords compared to the relative ease of playing the 5 chords right there. Now, if you have a nice, easy way of playing a B minor 7 that you're comfortable with, great. Knock yourself out. But I thought I'd present 5 kind of appealing sounding conventional chords so I could introduce this concept, okay? Create some sort of foundation using those 5 chords. You can do just 2 of them. You don't have to do all 5. And then improvise or compose a song on top with the arpeggios. By the way, of the 5 chords, we're in the key of G. G is in golf. So for our purposes, that G major 7 chord is the main chord. If you're going to compose a song with some combination of those chords, include the G major 7 for sure. I would suggest starting on the G major 7. And no matter what other chords you play, keep returning to the G major 7 periodically in your song to create that tonal center, right? So the listener, your fans, know that this song is in the key of G. It'll give whatever you do a more conventional, appealing sound. Okay, there you go. 7th chord arpeggios. Tons of benefits from working on something like that. I'm going to stop sharing. That PDF that you've been looking at will be available after tonight's live stream wraps up on my website, song-bike.com. You can head over to song-bike.com and become a member over there and access tons and tons and tons of PDFs, many of which reflect stuff we've done in the past 115 live streams. Here we are, number 116. Time to talk about show and tell. Is that the prettiest guitar you've ever seen right there? Look at that guitar. Woo! You want to hear the story? I hope so. You could own this guitar. I mean, this exact one I'm holding. In fact, I'm trying to not to make any marks on it so that the next owner, it'll still be just as pretty. So I was visiting my son, and there's a great guitar shop near my son's college. And I traded in some old stuff I had sitting around, and that helped pay for this beautiful guitar that is now for sale in my music shop. If you like the look and the sound of this guitar, well, then for sure you have great taste. The only thing is I'm not going to ship it around, so you'd have to come visit me in Connecticut. But let me tell you what you're looking at. A very cool, sort of an up-and-coming guitar company, the Sire Guitar Company, S-I-R-E, the Larry Carlton L3 model Sire. My understanding is that Larry Carlton and Marcus Miller, 2 highly regarded, I call them musicians, they started this company, the Sire Guitar Company, S-I-R-E, and this is kind of the entry-level guitar, but in a minute I'm going to tell you the awesome features of this guitar, why I decided to stock it in my music shop, because it's, even though it's, I guess you could call it an entry-level guitar amongst what they sell, man, what a cool guitar. Okay, so why did this guitar jump out at me other than the awesome cherry red color and the very cool perloid pickguard right there? This used guitar comes standard with a bone nut. Like all the cool kids have a bone nut on their guitar. It has a rosewood fingerboard. Very hip. It has rolled fingerboard edges. The edges are smooth. Oh, it feels so good. It feels like someone's played this guitar for 10 years. It feels great. The guitar is made of all mahogany. Ooh. It's not light, but it's not too heavy. Ooh, check out the back. A very nice curve here, very shapely kind of curve. They didn't have to do that, but they did it because you know what? It looks good and it feels good when you grab it right there. The neck is glued in. Nothing wrong with a bolt-on neck, but it costs more for the manufacturer to glue in a neck like that. Sometimes you hear it described as a set neck. So at this particular price point, that's a pretty cool feature, a glued-in set neck. A P90 pickup, but you might say it only has one pickup. Yeah, how cool is that, man? That's rock and roll. One pickup. Now, someone might say, yeah, but only one pickup. That means you don't get a huge variety of tones. I mean, one pickup, one volume, one tone knob, no selector switch because there's nothing to select. You have this beautiful little P90 pickup right here. But as I've been playing this guitar, I found that by adjusting the tone a little bit, adjusting the amplifier a little bit, you can get a nice range of tones out of the instrument, despite the fact that it only has one pickup. See, I'm warming up the tone a little bit by rolling back the tone knob. And now I'm rolling the tone knob forward a little brighter. But I'm not going to lie, man, a one pickup guitar, that's a rock and roll beast. A little red rock and roll beast. That's what this is. So used. Now, is there any negative whatsoever? Yeah, the previous owner made a little tiny ding. Can you see that? I know it's hard to see it. There it is right there. A little tiny ding. You can't see it when you're playing it. The audience can't see it, but it's under sort of by where the jack is. So a little tiny ding. As far as I can tell, that's the only mark. Oh, how could I forget? One more feature. See this shape here? That's called a volute. V as in Victor, V-O-L-U-T-E, a volute. The volute, it feels so good when your fretting hand kind of rests up against it, but that's not the only reason why it's there. It strengthens that point of the guitar. As some of you have sadly found out, that's a very vulnerable part of any guitar, right? So to have that extra wood supporting that thin part of the neck right there is an awesome thing. Costs more to do that, but you don't pay more because it's a cool guitar company. So what is your price on this guitar? $349. Very cool. It is used barely. Looks great, sounds great. I'm going to be sad to see it go. That's why I'm using it in tonight's live stream, because for all I know, someone's going to buy it Monday morning. But now you know when I know the Sire L3 guitar, and yeah, that blue Epiphone SG that I showed you a month ago or something. Someone bought that one. That one's gone. So this is the next one. Okay, that's my show and tell. Thanks everybody for letting me show and tell. You can buy this guitar, but you have to come to Connecticut to pick it up. That's all. $349 cash. Cash would be appreciated. Bruce, let's get to your question. Bruce says, Jonathan, I have an electric guitar question. Any tips on tightening electric guitar playing? Yeah, okay. On strumming, I feel I often get a messy sound with some unwanted strings ringing. Excellent question, Bruce. Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about that. Unfortunately, I have an electric guitar here in my hands. Electric guitars have a wild side, right? Literally every small sound you make is literally amplified, right, through an amplifier. So we have to monitor the electric guitar for those unwanted noises in the way that we don't typically have to monitor an acoustic guitar. My sleeve could brush the guitar, right? And that could create a relatively loud sound. Anything's possible. The number one trick is keeping your picking hand really close to the strings at all times. So you can, always be prepared to mute the strings or to catch a ringing string. In fact, you could even practice. I'm just going to take an E minor chord. And you can just practice letting your flesh of your picking hand just rest on the strings. This is, by the way, this is not some big, difficult technical skill. I'm just letting the edge of my right palm rest on the 6 strings. It doesn't get any more scientific or artistic than that. And you can just confirm for yourself, in case you don't already do this sometimes, you can confirm for yourself what it feels like to have your flesh touching the strings even while you're playing, because that's super important on electric guitar. Here's what you don't want to do. You don't want to play cautiously. You don't want to play gingerly, fill in the word yourself. You want to play the same way you would play an acoustic guitar. You don't want to be afraid that the guitar is going to make an unwanted sound, even though we don't want it to make an unwanted sound, but you can't play that way, right? So it's like a little insurance policy, having your flesh, the side of your pinky and the side of your palm close by. Okay, so that's my number one thought. So especially when you're strumming. When you're strumming down and up, it's not always possible to keep your flesh touching. So I'm going to suggest a few things. Hold the pick loosely. That's going to keep you from getting an abrasive sound. We don't want that on any guitar, but we definitely want that on an electric guitar. So loose grip on the pick. Relaxed arm and wrist. Everything should be so relaxed, Bruce, you're leading me into the quote of the week, which is, I'm calling it the teacher quote of the week. Al DiMeola. I bet we have some Al DiMeola fans out there. Bruce, my answer to your question connects with the teacher quote of the week from Al DiMeola, who said, don't strum up or down any further than you need to, just enough to strum the strings that you want. Now, that is very humble, modest advice from a high caliber musician. I'm going to repeat it again because it's so obvious, but obviously he felt the need to mention it. This is from an Al DiMeola book that I've been reading. Don't strum up or down any further than you need to, just enough to strum the strings that you want. And I was touched by that quote because of how direct and obvious it is. He's not talking about how to solo in some, using some obscure scale or technique or whatever. He's talking about something that we all can relate to, a beginner to advanced, right? So Bruce, how this applies to your question is having control over your pick will keep extraneous strings from ringing. So I've got my E minor chord, but I'm choosing my downs and ups. I'm choosing them to focus on, say, the 4 heavy strings. So you should have enough control with practice to focus downs and ups on a very specific group of strings. In this case, I'm emphasizing the fatter, heavier strings. Every once in a while, I have a beginner student who is very diligently strumming the maximum number of strings going down and the maximum number coming back up. And it sounds just like that, right? It's this big wash of sound. That's okay for beginner, but you can graduate past that by training yourself to focus in on just a few notes. By the way, it could be just a few skinny strings. This is a perfect time to actually look at your picking hand. Pick any chord you want, especially a chord that doesn't typically use all 6 strings. Let's say a C chord. Typically, we're all taught when you grab a C major chord, you don't include the fat E string, right? So now I'm going to keep my eyes on my pick. And I'm watching to make sure I don't hit the 6th string, Bruce, some of the stuff that we've done where you pick like a certain bass note and then strum the remaining notes. I'm going to stay on the C chord. That type of like an exercise that way could also help you with your picking aim and accuracy. Whether or not you're working on a song that goes like that, it's okay. You can still work on this to get just better control and better aim with your pick to hopefully avoid the what you're talking about there, the messy sound with some unwanted strings ringing. Yeah. Number one, you're already on your way to solving the problem because you're thinking about it, you're articulating it as a question. But again, what I don't encourage is playing cautiously and gingerly, you know. I don't encourage turning the guitar volume down necessarily. Nope, you gotta sort it out, you know, with your pick. One last point. Does not matter what type of pick you're using. There's no one pick in general that's better or worse for addressing this specific point. Use whatever pick you want. In general, I'm a fan of the heavier picks. Mine are 1 millimeter. But I've never come across a situation where using a certain pick solved a problem that I was having. And so I don't think I would bet that any of your variety of picks that you have sitting around in your guitar case, changing to a different pick is not going to solve your problems either. Take that variable off the table. You can do anything you want with any pick. In general, I discourage people from using super flimsy picks. But I really want to downplay the importance. I'm not saying the pick doesn't have an effect on the sound or anything. I'm just saying it's nowhere near as important as putting in the blood, sweat, and tears of working on your accuracy, you know. Charlie has a great question. Charlie says, do you feel like you play a song the same way every time, or is it always a little different? Always a little different, Charlie. Unless I'm trying to, you know, exactly duplicate some famous tune. And even then, I'm aware, or I use my judgment and think, okay, my sense is that this person is being a little loose and they're probably going to play it differently every time. So I give myself the same permission. And that usually has to do with certain rhythm guitar strumming. But if I'm working on a very specific, you know, famous melodic song, then I do try to play it the same way every time, because I like the challenge of trying to get it just like the original. And I can see graduating beyond that and saying, okay, I'm capable of playing it exactly like the original, and now I'm going to do it my way. And I think that's great. But out of respect for the player and the song, I personally want to see how closely I can get it exactly like the real song before I start interpreting it. But if you're talking about you know, strumming, or like a lot of the play along songs we do during live streams like this, yeah, I'm sure I play it a little bit differently every time. Yeah, for sure. But I do it. I know I'm doing it, and I do it because my instinct is that it doesn't hurt the song. This, you know, songs where you're strumming C's and G's and E minors, a lot of time those songs are forgiving as in terms of exactly every single exact detail. You know, and tonight's play along song will be an example of that. For tonight's play along song coming up in a few minutes, you will need a capo, so get a capo handy. You will need an F chord. Those of you who are not 100% confident with your F chord, start practicing. However you do F, start practicing it right now. Scott, I'm reading your comment. Scott says, I like a little lighter pick on the 12-string guitar. To me, it seems to pull out the different tones more than a heavy pick. Yeah, that's interesting. I can see that. Yeah. I'm going to encourage everybody to experiment with different picks. Here in my music shop, I sell variety packs of picks. Instead of selling, you know, one pick at a time, and you choose, you know, this one pick, or you choose one thin and one medium and one, you know, whatever, heavy. I thought let's just sell variety packs for $4. You get 12 picks or something, and then the player can sort of sort through those over time and see what they like the best. Partly I do that because so many of my students are relatively new to the guitar, and I want them to experiment with a bunch of different picks and see what they're going to like, you know. And I encourage you guys to do that too. And if you find a pick that you love and you can't live without, buy them by the dozen. You know, don't take any chances. Okay, so we talked about 7th chord arpeggios. We talked about the teacher quote of the week from Al DiMeola. We're going to get to an Al DiMeola picking exercise in a little bit, so don't go anywhere. There's a poll. How could I neglect to mention the poll question? Please vote in the poll if you haven't voted in the poll. Tonight's poll question is: a good YouTube video for guitar lesson video, must have what? And this could be a little bit tough for you guys to choose because it's tough for me to choose too. A good YouTube guitar lesson video must have. What's your number one priority? The teacher playing the song at different speeds? Yeah. How about tab right there on the screen? You can see all the tab right there. Choice number 3, the teacher explaining everything note for note, or other. Now, if you had to pick one of those to be your top priority, what's it going to be? So go ahead and vote in the poll. Let's bang out a couple of things here. My dumb question of the week. I have a dumb question. I ask it so you don't have to. My own dumb question of the week. Can you play slide guitar and regular guitar during the same song? I mean, once you put the slide on a finger, aren't you pretty much committing to, you know, you're done, right? What about open tuning? Isn't slide guitar always an open tuning? Well, then you can't go back to playing C and D and E minor and all that stuff because you've tuned the guitar differently. Is that a dumb question? It's a weird question, right? Again, the question is, can you play slide guitar and regular guitar during the same song? What do you think? It's a dumb question. Of course you can. Here's how you could facilitate that. First of all, you could just leave the guitar in regular tuning, right? You could I'm going to do a very, very simple riff. I hesitate to even call it a riff, but it's going to play nicely with a G major chord. Now, this is not hot shot guitar playing, but I'm doing what I proposed. I'm got my slide on my pinky. That's going to be very helpful because it facilitates my 3 very smart fingers to do whatever conventional guitar playing I want to do. So just so you know, for the record, Your Honor, I am sliding on the 2 center strings, G and D, from the 3rd fret to the 4th fret, basically, followed by the same 2 strings open. By the way, I'm doing it with my bare fingers. I could do it with a pick. And then just a G major chord. Okay, so of course you can. You can play slide guitar in standard tuning. And then, especially if the slide is on your pinky, then you have 3 fingers to go and play everything you know how to play. You just don't have your pinky available anymore, but that's okay because your pinky is there for the sliding. And as you know, you already do a ton of guitar playing without your pinky anyways, right? Okay, having said all that, I really think slide guitar sounds amazing in open tuning, but that doesn't change what I'm talking about. You can be in open tuning, do a slide riff, and then again, you have these fingers available to do whatever you know how to do in open guitar tuning, you know. Also, I don't typically play slide with a pick, but I did it just now so that those of you who are not comfortable playing with your bare fingers don't feel like you suddenly have to become comfortable with your bare fingers. So my favorite slide guitar players, I've noticed, they use bare fingers on the picking hand, and they play in a variety of open tunings, you know. So there you go. There's my dumb question of the week. I ask it so you don't have to. We've talked about slide guitar a little bit in these live streams, and I'm happy to talk about it more. Okay, check. Hey, let's talk about some tough love. In my hype and promotion for this week's live stream, I referred to the ultimate head start on mastering a guitar skill. So let's talk about that right now. The ultimate head start. I thought that was a nice clickbait kind of name. The ultimate head start on mastering a guitar skill. What could that possibly be? Well, let's start with a guitar skill. Let's say the guitar skill is playing a riff that leads to a specific chord. Some of you might recognize that's the riff I call the universal riff. And then I'm choosing to follow that up with a G major chord. So say your goal is to get good at that. That's the skill you want to get good at. You want to get good at that classic riff, and it is a classic riff, by the way. Not only do you want to get good at that riff, but you want to get good at resolving to some kind of chord, because you want to be that kind of cool guitar player who can play chords, break into a cool little riff, and get back to chords again. Okay, so what's the ultimate head start at mastering a skill? And we'll use that skill as an example. You could just sit there and do it all day, right? Great. So what do I mean by the ultimate head start? The ultimate head start, you ready? Instead of just thinking that as homework your teacher gave you, right? Turn it into your own personal song. You can write a song that uses that riff. It won't feel like practicing, 'cause you'll be having so much fun. Just rocking and rolling and playing this riff with G and C and D. But don't forget the riff. Okay, now that is so much more fun than just homework, right? And repeating it. So what I just do there, I did that same riff, right? But I was strumming G's and the chords that go nicely with G, which includes C and D. Okay, that started to sound like something, right? You know, watch out, Taylor Swift, man. I'm coming for you, Taylor. So I call that a head start because you're connecting with whatever the skill is. You're making it your own. You're having fun with it, which means just like when they made toothpaste taste better, they say you brush longer. Remember those commercials? That AIM toothpaste? Tastes good, Mom. You know, and Mom was like, he brushes longer because it tastes good. I digress. So you're going to put whatever the skill is. When you personalize it, when you start composing, start making your own song, doing something with it that involves your own creativity and ambition and instinct, motivation, all that kind of stuff, you're going to get so much better at the skill. Literally, it's a head start. You have a huge head start over the person the well-intentioned person who's like, hey, Sunday morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do that 10 times. Okay, that's great. Nothing wrong with that. But give yourself a head start. Give yourself an advantage, right? Have some fun with it. For the record, in case those of you have missed the live streams where I've talked about this thing, what I just do, middle finger, G string, 2nd fret. I gave a downstroke and slid up to the 4th fret on that same string. I'm going to leave that finger down. You could lift it off. I'm going to leave it down on that 4th fret of the 3rd string. Index finger, 2nd string, 3rd fret. I'm going to do that with an upstroke. So far I have. I'll do it again. I'm going to pluck that 3rd string. I'm going to slide that finger back to the 2nd fret, reversing what I'd done before. I did that with a downstroke, by the way, and then an open string, third string open with an upstroke. Down, up, down, up. What I call the universal riff, because it is a universal riff, it leads to everything. There it is, going to the E chord. God, I love this guitar. Don't buy it too soon, all right? This is such a great sounding guitar. Ooh, I just went to A minor. You can do that. That's why I call it universal. Okay, get the idea? The ultimate head start on mastering any skill. Write a song. Write a song. It doesn't have to be a hit song. It doesn't have to be a long song. When I say song, it could be a riff. It could be, you know, putting the skill, putting the thing you're working on together with something that you're already good at. Potentially a riff that goes to some chord. You get the idea. Okay, I call that the ultimate head start on mastering any guitar skill. Charlie says, a good YouTube guitar lesson must show what an accomplished shredder the teacher is and crushing the hopes, dreams, and aspirations of the student. Or he must wear a funny hat. I vote for the funny hat. Yeah, those YouTubers with hats, man. Good luck. Good luck to them. Okay, so that's the segment that fits the category of what I call tough love. The tough love is, yeah, doing something 10 times is good, but make something out of it. Make some music out of it. Write a song with it. Write a riff with it. You'll get better faster. No tough love. Okay, check, check, check. Hey, we're going to do our play along song of the week in a couple of minutes. Let's learn something before we do that, and that'll get your blood flowing. Okay, here comes, I mentioned DiMeola before. Here comes what I'm calling the DiMeola picking exercise. And again, I'm going to make this nice and big. If your screen goes black, you know the routine. If your screen goes black, don't freak out. The good stuff is coming. Charlie Beagle says, I don't need a hat. All right. Thanks, Charlie. Okay, so I was at the used bookstore that I frequent, the Book Barn in Niantic, Connecticut, and I got a whole bunch of guitar books, one of which was a book entitled DiMeola Picking Exercises, kind of a vanity publication thing, and it was used. It was $3. I thought, hey, man, I know DiMeola is a musician's musician. I'm going to get his book for $3. Number one, I hope I learned something out of it. Number two, I hope I can get a lesson plan out of it that I can use with a bunch of students. And both those boxes got checked. So I'm calling this the DiMeola picking exercise. And I think you're going to like this. It's just easy enough that, yeah, you can totally do it. Just hard enough that if you're like me, and I know I am, you're going to need a little practice, okay? Number one, we're going to focus on the top line because all the subsequent lines, there's 5 of these little exercises all together. The other 4, numbers 2, 3, 4, and 5, they're just my creative variations on number 1. So we're going to focus on the top line. Okay, so here's what you need to know. I stole this from DiMeola, but he illustrated doing this exercise way up the neck with kind of an oddball chord. It sounded great when he did it, but because the title of the book is Picking Exercises, I dumbed down the fretting hand so we could give 99% of attention to our picking hand, okay? So that's why all over this page, you see lots and lots of zeros. Zeros mean that the left hand, your fretting hand, doesn't have to do too much hard work, you know? And you'll see what I mean in a second. Okay, I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to play line 1 a few times in a row. I'll go slowly. I'll pick up the speed a little bit, and then we'll talk about it. You catch that as I sped up, what happened? Started falling apart a little bit. Don't do that. Although we'll talk about going faster a little bit later in the in today's live stream. Okay, so what's going on there? Picking hand, down, up, no exceptions, down, up, down, up, down, up. Remember that thing that looks like a little box? That means to pluck down towards your leg. The thing that looks like a V means to go up towards your chin. I'm aware that the V in general, it looks like an arrow pointing down. It's counterintuitive. Don't yell at me. I did not make up these symbols, okay? Down, up, 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 down, up. Okay, so what makes this unique? Not the first 8 notes. The first 8 notes are easy peasy. In fact, the first 11 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It's the 12th note, an upstroke, 2 on the G string. That's where the pattern comes apart. The first 11 notes are a nice straightforward pattern. The rubber meets the road at note number 12, that 2 on the G string with an upstroke. If you go slowly, it's so easy, but we don't want to go slowly. We want to play at a medium speed minimum, if not faster and faster. And this does sound better and better the faster and faster you go. You know? Okay, so what do you think so far? Any questions about that first line? Notice I'm using one finger in my fretting hand, only one finger at a time. That's the first 4 notes. My index finger, that's it. The second 4 notes, I switch over to my middle finger. The next 3 notes, I'm using my index finger. And now all of a sudden, you know what I tell myself? I remind myself in as clear language as possible. Jonathan, that's how I refer to myself. Jonathan, upstroke, 2 on the G string. Dummy, how I sometimes refer to myself. Make sure you get that upstroke on 2 right there. If I have the presence of mind to follow my own directions and get an upstroke on that 2, I'm pretty likely to make it through the rest of line 1. Okay, some of you hopefully are banging this out right away. Some of you are going through the same thing I went through, especially on day 1, where like, ooh, the last 5 notes are messing me up. Slow down on those last 5 notes. I mean, play the whole thing slowly, but especially those last 5 notes. So much more important to play this thing accurately, the way it's written, than to play it fast, okay? Now, just so you know, examples 2, 3, 4, and 5, same exact concept, just a different group of strings. Here's line number 2. Okay, line number 3. If you want to hear what inspired this, DiMeola has a tune called Electric Rendezvous. If you listen to from the very, very beginning of Electric Rendezvous, you will hear him doing this exact thing. He's just doing it higher up the neck with a kind of an awkward chord, and it sounds great, but as a teacher, I want to focus on one thing at a time. In this case, you're picking accuracy, and I wanted to keep everything else simple. So that's why I moved it down to this part of the neck, and lots and lots of open strings. Okay, what you're looking at, I'm going to zoom out now. What you're looking at there is also going to be available for members of my website. There we go. Available for members of my website at the conclusion of this live stream. Trust me, there's nothing on here that's any harder than line number 1. I just, again, I wrote number 1, right? And then I couldn't resist. I'm not going to leave the page blank. In fact, I still feel guilty that I didn't have one more cool little example at the bottom of the page. But what I'm going to say is, see how there's nothing there at the bottom of the page? Write your own. Okay, don't waste the paper. Write your own down there. Hey, Randy joining us from Colorado. Hey, Randy. Randy, I hope rehearsal went well. Thanks for joining us. Okay, questions, comments? The picking never changes. The group of strings changes, but the picking is all down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. I've been having fun practicing this myself and also just teaching it for the last week or so. I didn't see you guys last week, so I've had a few lesson plans building up. I refer to this type of thing as a lesson plan. A segment of our live stream I call WTF. WTF, which in this case stands for a weekly teaching feature, and that's exactly what this DiMeola picking exercise is. It's one of my weekly teaching features, something I've been doing with my in-person or online students. Recently, I thought I would share with you guys. In fact, some of you recognize this. Some of you guys have been doing this with me in the last week or two, those of you who take lessons with me. Okay, enjoy this. It's going to do wonders for your picking ability. And again, my hope, like I said earlier about the 7th chord arpeggios, I hope someone in your house hears you playing this and says, ooh, what is that? I like that. I'm back on number 1 right there. It sounds catchy, right? The faster you go, the better. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, there you go. Get a capo, everybody. We're going to do our play along song momentarily. Scott, I saw your question. I'm going to get to your question 1 second. Okay, there we go. Scott says, as a drummer, do you ever mess around with some percussive acoustic playing? Yeah, been watching videos and it looks impossible, but so did switching between C and G ones. Excellent point. Excellent. Scott, I know what you're talking about. You know, we've seen, I bet you've seen videos of people, they're playing acoustic guitar, but they're also kind of bapping it with their thumb or slapping it with their fingers. Anybody remember that movie, August Rush? Is that what it's called, August Rush? The Robin Williams movie with a little boy who is a, guitar prodigy. He tunes it to an open tuning and is like banging on it and stuff, gets all these wild sounds. That was the name of it, right? August Rush. So Scott, for those of you who don't know, I'm a recovering drummer. I took 1 million drum lessons as a kid. I love the drums so much. I'm as surprised as anyone that I make my living now teaching the guitar. I teach the drums a little bit, but the guitar is my bread and butter. So since you asked, I actually don't do that on the guitar, although you'd think I'd be the guy who would do it, right? Because I got drums in my blood, man. If I were to explain why I don't do that, I was fortunate enough to start playing the guitar, and pretty soon after that, I was working in a guitar shop surrounded by real guitar players, both the staff and customers who were coming in, and I did not feel the need or the motivation to develop my own approach to the guitar when I saw how good they all were and how great it sounded when people play the guitar the quote right way. I mean, conventional guitar playing. Not only were they very inspiring, but they would turn me on to great guitar players, past and present. And that motivated me to dig deep into the roots of guitar playing, going back decades and decades, and not to come up with my own way of smacking the guitar and doing this and that. Nothing against that stuff, but if I would rather use my time, investigating and pursuing beautiful stuff that people have done before me, kind of do my homework, as opposed to doing my own thing, for better, for worse. And nothing wrong with doing your own thing and come up with your own way of getting this percussive sound out of your guitar. But yeah, that was not, for better, for worse, that was not where my heart was. And I always, for better, for worse, I was always a little skeptical. Like, okay, that person is getting some interesting sounds, but like, could they actually play the guitar, like for real? Or are they just kind of banging on it? That's not a very open-minded attitude. But as a 19, 20-year-old, I couldn't help but to think that, Hey, Death Kira has joined the chat. Hey, Death Kira. RB, hello. I'm looking to make sure I say hi to folks as they join here. So Scott, I love the question. And I hope my answer doesn't sound too judgmental, because there's some very talented people who get lots of crazy, awesome sounds out of the guitar. It just, I wasn't motivated to do that. Maybe because I love playing the drums, and to me, they're just two separate things. And I get so much satisfaction from each, I guess, mixing the two. But you know what? I still think of some of the stuff I do now as stuff a drummer would do. Danielle says, I cringe when I see someone beating on a nice acoustic guitar. It looks like abuse to me. Danielle, I know what you mean. I know. But, you know, I'm a fan of anybody who clearly has spent a lot of time with an instrument and can communicate with the instrument. Not to sound too open-minded about everything on the guitar, but I mean, let's face it, for a lot of us, the one thing that we have in common is a commitment to the instrument and hours and hours and hours sitting in a chair working at it. And we have, you know, those of us who fit that basic description. You're committing to an instrument. You spend hours sitting in a chair working on it. My feeling is we have way more in common than we even can imagine. No matter what the end result is, heavy metal, blues, all of the above, you know. Hey, well, William, I'm going to answer your question, then we'll get to our guitar play along song of the week. William says, do electric guitars and acoustic electric guitars require different types of amps? The short answer is no, you can plug into anything. Longer answer, if I were, well, no, I guess technically I am. Yeah, yes. So the longer answer is, yeah, if you have an acoustic electric guitar and you're performing in front of paying customers, everyone's gonna like the sound of your acoustic electric better if you don't just plug it into any old electric guitar amp. You're not obligated to. In the comfort of your own home, do whatever you want. Here's what I found recently. My friend Clay and I were playing a gig, and I plugged my acoustic guitar for a few songs. I plugged it into my electric guitar amp, and the sound was, I was getting some feedback, and I didn't love the tone of it, and it was kind of frustrating. So the next gig, I plugged it into the PA system, the same system where the vocals are going through, and everything improved. I felt the overall tone was better. The feedback basically disappeared, and I was just happier. And as you know, if you're happy as a player, everything is your listeners are going to be able to sense that. So in the comfort of your own home, you do not have to rush out and buy another amplifier by any means. But performing, you know, you might consider that, you know. There's all sorts of amps out there that are marketed towards this exact thing, you know, acoustic guitars that you want to amplify. And so many of us have acoustic guitars with a built-in pickup and the control, the volume and tone and everything, right? Yeah. Okay. Bill, I hope that answered your question. Hey, if you guys are ready to rock and roll, let's do this. I'm going to close this. Our play-along song of the week is a song that came to my attention as a young guitar teacher. I believe this was the song, and so I'm going to stick with that as my story. A student requested this song, and I said, sure, we can learn that. There we go. From the pen of Ian Tyson, Canada's own Ian Tyson, the song called Four Strong Winds. Many of us know this as a Neil Young song. When I was first starting out on the guitar, I'm pretty sure this was the song where one of my older students, older than me, I was a kid, he said, hey, could we learn this song? And I had never heard it before. And once I heard it, I thought, man, that's a great tune. I thought, oh, I'm going to like this teaching thing, because people are going to request songs, and they might end up being songs I really, really like down the road. It's just a way to learn about new stuff. So Four Strong Winds. I'm going to wet my whistle, take a look at this song. I'll be back with you in 5 seconds. Okay. Like I said, you need an F chord, but you don't need it till towards the end of the chord progression. Beautiful song. let's walk through the left hand very quickly and walk through the right hand for singing purposes. I'm going to capo up right now at the 4th fret. I'm doing this for my benefit and you as a listener. I'm going to sing better with a capo at the 4th fret. The chords you're looking at, those are the chords that Neil Young recorded with no capo. So again, I'm putting on a capo so I can sing it better. Neil Young does not use a capo. Ian Tyson does it in a different key. Ian Tyson does this in the key of G. So I would love it for all of you to get to the point where you can play along with the actual song. Then in light of that, it's the Neil Young version with no capo, okay? For the moment though, do put a capo on at the 4th fret. Okay, so let's talk about each hand. Your fretting hand, you need a C chord. You need D minor. Let's talk about D minor for 1 second. Poor D minor. Nothing hard about D minor. It just doesn't show up as often as E minor and A minor. And so a lot of people are kind of shaky on D minor. Don't be like that. There's your D minor chord right there. Not a hard chord. G major, as usual, I highly recommend doing G major with your middle, ring, and pinky. In the second line, the G major morphs into a G7. You'll definitely be glad that you're doing G this way because playing G with your middle ring and pinky facilitates a very easy change to G7 with your middle ring and index. One of the many arguments in favor of learning G multiple ways, including the G with your middle ring and pinky. And then F. And for the F chord on the bottom line, you can play F any way you want to. I'm almost certainly going to do F sort of my go-to way, which is the 5-string 4-finger F. Regular viewers will know I'm not a big fan of bar chords at any time. But I do like having 5 strings humming quietly when I play an F chord, because the more the merrier, right? It's a bigger sound. RB says my go-to is the bar F. Yeah, that's great. Do F any way you want to. You're going to see me doing F this way, which is in effect, it's the F bar chord without the bar. Does that make sense? Or do you see what I'm talking about? My middle ring and pinky are in the same place they would be for the F bar chord, but because I'm stubborn, I just bar the first 2 skinny strings. That would be known as a partial bar. Rock Lobster says, I'm a beginner, but I have no problem with F. Well, guess what, man? You are not a beginner. Hate to tell you, hate to break it to you, man. If you can confidently play F, that's one of the boxes to check. You know, like, yeah, you're not a beginner. If you're comfortable with any kind of F chord, you're not a beginner. RB says that you call that, RB calls this the short F. Yeah, okay, works for me. Okay, let's talk about the strumming. A good approach, especially to get you into the Neil Young territory, is the calypso strum down, down, up, up, down, up, down, down, up, up, down, up. And you're essentially going to do that strum 1 time for every chord. So C, down, down, up, down, up. D minor, down, down, up, down, up. G, da, 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 da. C, da, 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 da. It's totally possible during the play along in a moment that I will break away from that, partly because I want to, partly because I love putting out other options, so you guys will see other things that can be done with strumming beyond just the strum. Nothing wrong with this strum. It works for a lot of songs. Okay, what do you think? You ready to do this? Got my lyrics. That is the whole tune. You can see I wrote in sort of keywords for the chorus. Winds that blow lonely, C high, right? My tendency is to put in the words that guide you from chord to chord. I don't always write in the entire line, but I figure a few keywords can be helpful. Capo at the 4th fret. How about if you know what I'm going to do? Oh boy, I'm going to throw you a curve. I'm going to play the third and fourth lines as an intro. Okay, it makes for a great intro. You know, people do this all the time. The song is written, they need an intro. So they take a portion of the song, designate that as the intro, and then that leads right into the verse, chorus, whatever. So I'm going to do lines 3 and 4 as the intro, and then back to the top of the page. This song, you could say, has no verse or chorus, and by that I mean those chords you see right there, that is the entire song. Whether Ian Tyson or Neil Young is singing verse, chorus, no matter what they're singing, it's that same group of chords over and over again. That's all. Okay, let's do this. I'll see you on the other side. Line 3, 2, 3, 4. For strong winds that blow lonely, 7 seas that run high, all those things that won't change, come what may. For the good times they are gone, and I'm bound for moving on. I'll look for you if I'm ever back this way. Guess I'll go down to Alberta. Weather's good there in the fall. Got some friends that I can go working for. Still I wish you'd change your mind if I asked you one more time. But we've been through that 100 times or more. For strong winds that blow lonely, 7 seas that run high, all those things that don't change, come what may. For the good times they're gone, and we're bound for moving on. I'll look for you if I'm ever back this way. If I get there before the snow flies, things are going good. You could meet me if I send you down the fair. But by then it would be winter, not much for you to do. And the wind sure do blow cold out there. For strong winds that blow lonely, 7 seas that run high, all those things that don't change, come what may. For the good times they're gone, I'm bound for moving on. I look for you if I'm ever back this way. Okay, so what you notice in there, I started in terms of the strumming with down, down, up, down, down, up. From there, I kind of morphed to, my nickname is boompa chicka, boompa chicka, boompa chicka. I'll show what that is. I'll illustrate it on a C chord. Downstroke on the 5th string only. Upstroke on the 4th string only. And then a down up on the 3 treble strings. Boompa chicka. Gets a nice kind of rolling sound. You know, towards the end, I went to almost like a finger picking type of a sound. I was going to get there before the snow falls. Things are going good. Okay, so hey Chaz, thank you for your super chat. Hey Willie, thanks for being here. Willie dropped a like on the live stream. Thank you, Willie. I appreciate that. Don't forget to like what we're doing here, you guys. That thumbs up. Okay, so what I was doing there, it was down up picking, but I did this to give the overall performance, quote, quote, performance, a little texture, right? Brought the volume down. It's like fake finger picking. So what was I doing? In this case, again, I'm illustrating this in a C chord, down on the 5th string, up on the 3rd. That's like what I did for that Boompa Chica. But then down on the 4th, up on the 2nd. 5, 3, 4, 2, 5, 3, 4, 2, down, up, 5, 3, 4, 2. The exact strings you pluck can vary depending on the chord. For the D minor, you could switch to 4, 2, 3, 1, 4, 2, 3, 1. Right? It just brings the song down a little bit. By then it would be winter, not much for you to do, and the winds sure do blow cold out there. And then you could go back into winds that blow lonely, right? A little texture. Okay, so now what I was doing during the actual play along a minute ago, pretty subtle stuff, right? I wouldn't expect those slightly different approaches to immediately jump out at everyone, especially if you're in the middle of playing it. But this is an example of a tune where not only are there multiple ways of strumming it, you have the green light to strum it multiple ways during the actual song, right? You don't have to stick with one robotic approach for the entire tune. Nothing wrong with that, though. For some of you, it's the chord changes that are hanging you up. Well, in that case, 100% focus on the chord changes. Keep your picking as simple as possible, because the song isn't, sadly, it's not music until the chords sound good and the chord transitions happen smoothly, right? I get that. But for those of you who are okay on the chords, but want a little insight into some strumming possibilities, there you go, And this song definitely, it's that kind of folky tune where there's more than one way to strum it. This song doesn't live or die by one exact strumming pattern. Okay, so I'll repeat myself one last time. Neil Young plays these chords with no capo, okay? So that's my challenge to you. Practice this to the point where you can crank up his version, no capo, C, D minor, F, G, G7, and play along with him. He did this song with the band as part of the last waltz, not in the film, but if you get the soundtrack away from, that includes stuff that wasn't shown in the film, you can hear him doing this with the band, but he stayed true to the key of C. Randy says, I've only heard Neil Young's version. Well, you got to check out Ian Tyson's version. Ian Tyson does this whole thing in the key of G. And I'll make this quick. If you want to play with Ian Tyson's version in the key of G, I'll transpose it for you. So get a pencil ready or mark this moment. We're about an hour and 20 minutes into the live stream, where Neil Young plays C, Ian Tyson played G, like golf. So all those C's all over the place, those would all turn into G's. Every D minor would be A minor, easy peasy. For some of you, you'd rather play A minor than D minor, okay? Any G chord on this page would be D. D is in delta. The G7 would be D7. And the F chord, the way Ian Tyson's version goes, the F chord would be a C chord. So if anything, Ian Tyson's group of chords is a little bit easier than Neil Young's. Ian Tyson would be playing G, A minor, C, D and D7. There you go. And either way, what a beautiful tune. Okay, there you go. What you're looking at will be up on my website shortly after tonight's live stream. As you guys know, when we wrap up, I say goodnight, and then I begin time stamping the live stream, and I begin uploading different PDFs to song-bike.com, where you can become a member and get access to all PDFs and all sorts of stuff that you can't get access to anywhere else. Okay, questions, comments? You guys okay with that? On my list of songs for upcoming live streams, there's a bunch of Neil Young songs. I'm trying to space them out a little bit. He just has a bunch of tunes that just are good examples of what I look for in these play-along songs, which are great songs that are well-known, that are not too fast, and that are relatively clear and easy to explain, easy to understand. They still might take a little practice, but the songs don't have a whole lot of quirky, bizarre stuff in them. Okay, check. Little Tough Love. It is incumbent, it is important that as a guitar student, you need to find out how fast is too fast. In general, you should push yourself, whatever you're doing, to go faster and faster until you mess up. Some of you do this. Some of you start too fast and you're messing up all the time. I get it. Some students, they're so in love with playing it correctly and sounding good that they don't push themselves out of their comfort zone. So I guess I'm talking to you guys, especially if you know what you're doing and you're doing it okay. You got to push yourself to go faster. If it's just a generic exercise, scale, arpeggio, whatever, then for sure you want to go faster and faster and faster all the time. And if it's a famous song, you certainly want to go as fast as the real song. But out of curiosity, you can even push yourself to go a little bit faster than the actual song. Number one, just to see what happens. Number two, you are over preparing yourself, right? But a little Tough Love segment of our live stream, I call it the Tough Love segment. In general, you have to find out how fast is too fast. Push yourself, see what happens. You want to find where things fall apart, where you have a train wreck. That's all right. That's all right. How do you know? Every once in a while, you're going to surprise yourself. You're going to be able to play faster than you thought you could. You just didn't know how well prepared you were. And then you push yourself and you realize, wow, I can go a little bit faster, you know. Randy, thank you for your super chat, you guys. I really appreciate super chats. Super chats, how you can support the live stream. It's that $ down at the bottom. Click on that $ and the rest is easy. And I thank you in advance. Hey, don't forget to use the Sweetwater affiliate link. It's in the description of all my live streams. You click on that link, it brings you to Sweetwater. When you make a subsequent purchase down the road from Sweetwater, they know that I sent you to them, and they send me a little tiny bit of their profits. I believe it's like maybe a 2-week window. So if you were to click on that link tomorrow morning, I think any Sweetwater purchase for about 2 weeks, they remember that I sent you their way. So I thank you in advance. Okay, check. I'm sure at this point, many of you know there's a new movie out about Bruce Springsteen. If you've seen it, I would be curious about your reviews. What I want to talk about is 2 other movies that are not Bruce Springsteen movies. Music biopics tend to suck all the oxygen out of the room, whether it's about Freddie Mercury or Elton John, Bob Dylan. But there's other music things out there that you can watch. And the 2 that I want to bring to your attention are both documentaries, actually. And one of them is available, and the other one is in the works, and you could actually contribute money to finish the film. I will make this all clear in a moment. Okay, let's start with the one that is available to watch. If you are from Cincinnati, and you're hip to Cincinnati music history, then you may be very familiar with King Records, the pride of Cincinnati. Okay, see that right there? King Records. If your screen goes black, give it a minute. Don't worry, don't worry. We're going to talk about this for a moment. There's a documentary that you can watch right now, and I'll put the link in the description of this live stream. We're looking at the homepage right now. It's a PBS documentary called King of Them All. King Records put out records by a lot of famous people. You can see, if you can read the screen there, you can see a couple of the names, everyone from James Brown to the Stanley Brothers. I watched a little bit of this already, and I read a little bit about it. It sounds very, very cool. Awesome job, PBS, for shining a light on the famous King Records out of Cincinnati. What I want to do now is what you're looking at right there. Don't worry. The link to get you to that page right there, I'll put that in the description of this live stream. But at the moment, I'm also going to pull up, I'm going to stop sharing that one, and I'm going to pull up the a little information about King Records. That's this one. Okay. Okay. So here's some things you might not know about King Records. As you guys know, I'm a music fan, and that's it. And where better to learn about music than our friend Wikipedia. So King Records, founded in 1943. Can you see that on the screen? King Records, 1943, Sid Nathan, Cincinnati, Ohio. And they drop a bunch of names on here. Everyone from the Delmore Brothers, Reno and Smiley. A lot of great American music came to us courtesy of King Records and Sid Nathan. I'm just scrolling up here. I know I'm going kind of fast. So PBS put out this documentary about King Records. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame put a historical marker at the site of King Records. The building is still standing, this says. The building is now owned by the city of Cincinnati. Okay, so I'll leave it at that. But I started watching the documentary a little bit myself, and it looks so super cool. So there you go. Now you know a little bit about King Records, and if that whets your appetite to watch a documentary, then I've done my job. Now here's one where the film is not finished yet, and they need you to that's what I'm looking for. They need you to make a little donation so they can finish the film. What's this one? I will tell you. Okay, that some of you Californians might be familiar with this famous club called the Ash Grove. The Ash Grove, which was only around for 15 years, 1958 to 1973. But man, they made a pretty big impression on people. Folk music, but it's a pretty healthy variety of musicians were involved in playing at the Ash Grove. And there is a movie that's in the works. They just haven't finished it yet. A lot of interviews have been done. You guys know Ramblin' Jack Elliott. I believe it's his daughter who is putting together this movie. Musicians like Taj Mahal, Ry Cooder, Linda Ronstadt, Roger McGuinn, Jerry Garcia, all these people, made it through the Ash Grove. Bonnie Raitt. The club burned down 3 different times. A lot of famous people. Check that out. Look at that. Lightning Hopkins, Son House, Muddy Waters, Helen Wolf, Big Mama Thornton, Bill Monroe, Ralph Stanley, Doc Watson. I mean, this is music royalty, right? Music royalty. So I'm going to include a link that will get you more information about the movie here and about how you could actually make a donation to help finish the movie, right? Very interesting. The Ash Grove. Okay, so I want to share those documentary movies with you, because there's lots of film out there to educate all of us and entertain all of us, and beyond just the current, crop of biopics such as the Bob Dylan movie. So anybody seen the Springsteen movie yet? Deliver Me from Nowhere. I'm very curious about it. The book that it's based on, it was written by Warren Zanes, and I'm a Warren Zanes fan for lots of reasons, including Warren Zanes, member of the Del Fuegos. And if you grew up in Boston, the Boston area, you might have very well been familiar with the Del Fuegos in the 1980s, and what a great band. And Warren Zanes, after the Del Fuegos, he went into academia, I believe, and he wrote a great book on Tom Petty. I think it's considered the book on Tom Petty's career. And then wrote this book specifically on Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska recording in the Nebraska period. And that's the book that this current movie is based on. So now you know what we're talking about. Rock Lobster says, that's me. Rock Lobster growing up in the Boston area in the 80s, right? Yeah, the Del Fuegos, man. Someday maybe we'll do a Del Fuegos song for our virtual play along. So Willie Snyder, you're talking about a comet that's coming through our neck of the universe. I don't know about it. Is that the 3I Atlas comet? It shows signs of life. Why not, man? It's been a weird year so far. Might as well have a comet come through as signs of life. Why not? If you're on the comet, don't forget to head on over to song-bike.com and become a member, where you can get access to lots and lots of PDFs. Yeah. All right. So I wanted to share those two movies with you guys. Check. Ooh. Here's a good one. Any of you from the UK familiar with the Mercury Prize? Of course you are. The Mercury Prize. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to do a great job of explaining what the Mercury Prize is, but it came to my attention because the Mercury Prize for the best song of the year over there in the UK went to a young man named Sam Fender for a song called People Watching. And I'm a sucker for anything that gets a prize. So especially if it's specifically for like a song of the year from any country, I want to know what gets song of the year. I want to hear that song. So the Mercury Prize for 2025 over there in the UK was issued to Sam Fender for a song called People Watching. So I have one question. Does anybody know that song? I was not aware of that song, which actually comes as no shock, but I wasn't familiar with that song. I since have listened to it, and it's a pretty cool song. But I'm always curious as to the breadth of popularity of a song. Is the song taking over the universe, or is it very popular in one little narrow, segment of one country? So anybody out there know the song called People Watching by Sam Fender? It's a cool song. I think you should check it out. So little bit of trivia in case you're wondering who won the 2025 Mercury Prize for Song of the Year in the UK. Now you know, Sam Fender, People Watching. If you're curious about just hearing a new song and seeing what these kids are listening to nowadays, there you go. It's a cool song. People Watching by Sam Fender. I report, you decide. I think it's a cool song. In the category also called Do You Know? We talk about Do You Know Sam Fender? Do you know the band called the Onlies? Onlies. Very cool string band. What do I mean by string band? Guitar, acoustic guitar, fiddle, banjo, stand-up bass, harmony vocals, people gathering around one microphone. What a cool band. Pretty young people, but the Onlies. In the description of this video, I'm going to include a link to the band called the Onlies. I'll put a link to People Watching as well. If you want to hear what young people are up to in the US, keeping alive the string band tradition, which is, it's like country, but country before country, like the roots of country music, what nowadays we call country music, but, string band music, acoustic instruments, good stuff. So check out the Onlies, Onlies, and I'll put a link to an Onlies video in the description of this live stream. As you guys know, I, for one, do not want to be one of those grumpy old people who says, there's no good music anymore. So one way I combat that is, scratching the surface and seeing who is out there doing what. And I have a bunch of, sources that I go to, and I think, well, if they say something is worth listening to, I'm going to give it a chance and see, what I think. And if I could be one of those sources for you, I'd be very proud. So check out the Onlies, very cool stuff. All right, check. Check. Didn't do that. Okay, check. You want to learn something? Sure, why not? What I'm about to show you, keep your guitar handy, no capo necessary. What I'm about to show you, we did something extremely similar to this a while back, but it was a while ago, and I thought to myself, I came across this lesson plan. I thought, I want to get back into this because what I'm about to show you is a super easy way to improve your songwriting, a super easy way to create a sound on your instrument that you might never have made before, in this case, a diminished chord. If you do remember us doing this a while back, and this is very familiar to you, then good job me. I planted a seed in your head and you remembered it. That's great. If you vaguely remember this, but you need a review, then I'm here to do that. Hey, Scott Rhodes is checking out a band that he recommends called the Cherry Drops. Okay, Scott, in the chat, Scott, tell us a little bit more about how you would characterize them. If you had to, 25 words or less, how would you characterize the Cherry Drops? Okay, diminished chords. I'm going to stop talking for a minute. I'm going to play the top line. I'm going to strum the chords. I'm not going to play them as individual notes. I'm going to strum them. I'm going to start in the D major chord. And wait till you hear the sound of the diminished chord in this context. Okay, here I go. Okay, I just played D major, D sharp diminished, E minor, and A7. A nice little chord progression. I'll do it again. Okay, so number one, I'm not literally following exactly what I wrote there on the page. I'll explain why I wrote it that way, but I'm kind of strumming and arpeggiating, in a way that sounds nice to me. The point of this page is to help you play maybe your first diminished chord, and then to put it in a context to encourage you to play it more, such as to write a song, for instance, a song with that first line chord progression, D to D sharp diminished to E minor and A7. Notice on that top line, really the only chord that's probably new at all is the D sharp diminished, because D, E minor, and A7 are probably pretty familiar chords. Okay, why did I write it the way I did? With a D, but then it says 0, 2, 3, 2. Just to leave no doubt about, the notes of a D chord. What I wrote, you do not have to play it that way. Again, I just want to make it very clear what the notes are that make up a D chord. I just chose to write it out that way. You could play it the way I wrote it. The second measure would sound like this. Ooh, hear that dissonance? I'm sure you do. E minor, A7. Okay, the right hand strumming, the picking, totally up to you. Strum, pick, that's not what we're talking about now. What we're talking about is inserting that diminished sound between two familiar chords. You are creating tension, and then you are resolving the tension by the subsequent chord. In this case, the E minor resolves the tension of the D sharp diminished. Okay, so what is the D sharp diminished? It's the parallelogram shape. I call it parallelogram. Index finger, D string, fourth string, first fret. Middle finger, second finger, on the second string, B string, first fret. Ring finger, third string, second fret, that's the G string. Pinky, first string, second fret. 1, 2, 1, 2. It's not a difficult chord, it's just unfamiliar. Trust me, it's not a difficult chord. You might never have done this before. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. I highly recommend putting down the index finger first and the middle finger second. and then ring and pinky last, you know? So give yourself a minute to get used to this. You get a lot of bang for your buck, though, from this chord. It's such a unique sound. But I bet you can hear how well it sandwiches between the D and the E minor. And the A7 is there just to complete, you know, a typical chord progression. The A7, nicknamed the 5 chord in this context. A7 always likes to resolve to some type of a D chord. In this case, I recommend those 2 dots, that repeat sign. It sends you right back to the beginning of line 1 again, back to the D chord. So to be 100% clear, these are 3 completely separate mini songs, okay? You don't play line 1 and then go right on to line 2. These are all completely separate things, okay? It would just sound weird if you did what I just described. Okay, so a diminished chord. Again, not physically challenging, just new, right? By the way, you can choose how briefly to actually stay on that D sharp diminished chord. You know, you could strum D major 3 times. The 4th strum could be a single diminished chord and then right onto E minor. It would sound like this. You know, you're really minimizing that tension. That's fine, you know, that's fine. Okay, check out line 2. Line 2, C major. Remember, this is a totally different song, right? Totally different. C major. We're eventually going to end up on A minor, but I'm going to give you 2 possibilities for the diminished chords, and each diminished chord could resolve to a different way of doing A minor. Okay, so C major, strummed any way you want to. The next chord, A flat diminished. It's the same form. See how up at the top it says diminished chords, 1 form. It's the same form, the one I call the parallelogram form. It's just that it's 3-4, 3-4 instead of 1-2, 1-2. It's that 1-2, 1-2 chord glided up 2 frets. Okay, that's an A flat diminished. It's going to help us get to an A minor chord musically. The ear is going to like the way the A minor sounds in a second. Which version of A minor? If we're playing the A flat diminished like this, I vote for the version of A minor that's 5-5-5. 3 skinny strings, 5th fret. Listen to how the whole thing sounds. C. Oh, hear that nice resolution? The A flat diminished. So pretty, right? There's another way of playing A flat diminished. It's that 0-1-0-1 option. Ooh, hold on. There we go. If that sounds a little sour, out of context, yeah, it's supposed to. If it sounds bad, you're doing it right. If you choose to play the A flat diminished that way, I would resolve to a traditional A minor. The conventional A minor down there. Don't take my word for it. Trust your ears. Here it comes. C. Now, did that sound a little sour? Yeah. But if you don't want all your songs to sound the same, you have to find something, 10 somethings, right? You got to do something to give a song some personality. So a diminished chord is one way to do that, you know, one of many, many ways. And again, you can decide how much of a spotlight to shine on the diminished chord. It can go by in a beat. It can go by in 1 strum. And you know it's there, but all the listener heard was a little transitional sound. Or you can really double down and stay on that diminished chord for quite a while. All right, kind of really doubled down that time on that 3/4, 3/4 diminished. Okay, last one, example 3, C to A minor to F. So far, that's a very extremely common chord progression, but watch out, F sharp diminished, sending us to a G7, which we're kind of back into a typical key of C chord. And like I said, seventh chords, in this case G7, they want to resolve someplace. G7 loves to resolve back to C again. So here's how number 3 sounds. C chord, A minor, F, F sharp, G7, back to C. Okay, without me talking so much. Now, you don't have to love the way diminished chords sound. If it's just not working for you, no worries. But if you're looking for something new that you never did before, and you want to have at least one part of one of your songs have something that the average listener doesn't hear every day, now you have some ideas. Okay, hey, Scott is telling us more. The Cherry Drops are kind of a power pop Beach Boys feel, and you discover them through a cover of this song called Grooviest Girl in the World. But they have lots of good original stuff. All right, Scott. See, that's what I'm talking about. There's interesting bands out there, right? But it helps to have a little word of mouth, little sources you can go to. I know with many of us, you got the streaming services like Spotify, and that's in a weird sort of way. That's one way to learn about new stuff, right? Used to be turning on the radio. Knock on wood, you would hear new stuff on the radio now and then. Maybe a sibling would bring home a new record. You know, someone at school would turn you on to something. Lots of ways, right? Okay, diminished chords. Thank you, everybody. Now we're getting close. We're getting close to the end here. Hey, we haven't had any technical glitches. I'm sure the next 13 minutes will go great without a single glitch. I think I'm so funny. So funny. Okay, I'm checking off things on my list. It is definitely not too late for you to ask me a question. You might say to yourself, hey man, I'm going to ask him about that cool guitar. Anybody miss my little show and tell? This guitar is for sale. It's awesome. $350. It's technically it's used. It has one little ding right there. I sure wish it didn't, but that's how I got it. A Sire L3 guitar. I recommend it highly. Come on by my music shop. Send me an email and buy this guitar. I love having it around. I've had it for about a week now, but it's for sale. You know, it's I didn't get it for myself, although I love having the opportunity to play it. Quick review of what makes this guitar special, in my humble opinion. Sire put on some very cool parts and did some cool things. A bone nut. You don't see that every day on guitars in this price range. A volute in the back of the neck, that little bump right there. It makes this stronger and it feels great against your fretting hand. Rosewood fretboard, very nice. Rolled edges, that means they essentially sanded the edges of the neck to make it feel very comfortable for your left hand. They didn't have to do that. Nice little sculpted feel right there. It looks good, feels good. The neck is glued into place. It's not just bolted. Nothing wrong with bolt-on necks. I like bolt-on necks just fine. It's just that at this price point, you don't see that very often, you know. Very pretty cherry finish on this mahogany guitar. P90 pickup. Sounds great. You hear any buzzing or hum? I got it cranked up pretty loud right now. Nice and quiet. Very pretty pearl pick guard right there. The fact that it only has one pickup, I don't know. Some people might think of that as a liability because you don't have as big a range of sounds. Sounds great. It certainly is great for a rock and roll kind of sound. But you can dial back the tone and get a little bit of a sweeter tone if that's what you're looking for. Nothing wrong. Anyways, very cool guitar, Sire L3. Don't take my word for it. You can go out and read the reviews of it. I saw this hanging in a guitar shop, and I traded in a bunch of my old stuff, and I added a little cash. So this is now in stock at my music shop, and I think it's a cool guitar. I'm not going to ship it, so you got to come here to small town Connecticut and bring some cash with you. It's all yours. Oh, I have a nice gig bag. Came with a gig bag. Perfectly good gig bag as well. There you go. So Randy says, great looking guitar. I know, ma'am. I agree. They had a few different guitars in this shop I was at, more or less in this price range, $350. But this one just jumped out at me. I thought that is a hip guitar. Okay, my friends, a little segment I call Who's in Town. Everyone I'm about to mention, there's going to be a link to that person, a YouTube video of them doing their thing in the description of this live stream. These are people who are coming through my area. If they're on tour here, they're probably coming through your area. Here's who you should know about. Coming through my neck of the woods, Ronnie Baker Brooks doing some great blues guitar. The Diamond Baritones doing some very sweet harmonies. Pasquale Grasso. The video I'm going to link you to is him playing guitar, doing a beautiful rendition of the classic song called Solitude with Samara Joy singing, Grammy Award winner, Samara Joy, great young jazz singer. And it's this fellow Pasquale Grasso on guitar. He's the one who's on tour. I recommend him. I recommend the video. And if you're looking for some great jazz singing, Grammy Award winner, Samara Joy. Very cool. Who else is on tour? Rory Block playing some great blues guitar. Rory Block is on tour. And you know who else is on tour? Member of the band The Cars, Greg Hawkes is on tour with a singer named Eddie Japan, who I believe that's the singer who's singing Rick Ocasek's vocal parts. So if you're a fan of The Cars, then you want to check out Greg Hawkes on tour. I'm going to share a link to a video of Greg Hawkes performing with Eddie Japan doing a classic Cars tune. I think you'll get a kick out of it. Check that off. Those are some of the people on tour, and they're coming through my area. Keep your eyes open. They might be coming through your area too. Hey, don't forget to give me a follow on Instagram or Facebook. Just head over to either one of those websites, whichever your preferred one is, and do a search for the term SongBike. You can follow me on Instagram or Facebook. And I don't post too much stuff. I just promote this live stream, a few interesting things here and there. Not enough to make you regret that you follow me on those social media platforms. Whew. Okay, let's check another poll. Did you vote in our poll? We're getting towards the end of our live stream. Our poll question of the night. There we go. Okay, the poll question is, in your opinion, a good YouTube guitar lesson video must include which of the following in terms of your number one priority? Should it include playing the song slowly and then up to speed, having the guitar tab on the screen, everything explained note for note, or other? So at the moment, and you have just a couple minutes left to vote, at the moment, 41%, the plurality of you voters are voting for having the guitar tab on the screen. That is the number one priority at the moment with 41%. Number two is having the teacher, the YouTuber, play the song slowly and then also up to speed. And number three at 21%, everything explained note for note. And I gotta say, I didn't exactly expect that. I would have predicted the majority of y'all would want the, tricky. I would have thought the majority would have prioritized watching the person play it super slowly and then up to speed. And then I would have thought second place would have been everything explained note for note. And then third place would have been having the guitar tab on the screen. And instead, the guitar tab is actually number one in 41%. Interesting. And 32%, like I said, having the teacher play it slowly and then faster. And third place Was everything explained note for note? And 6% of you voted for other, and I asked you to explain that in the chat. So I look forward to reading about, your other, what else you might have prioritized when you click on that YouTube video and hope that YouTuber is giving you what you want. Yeah, see, Willie says, I don't think tabs are necessary. I'm watching their fingers. Yeah. I get that. I mean, it's a tricky question because ideally it's all those things, right? Just everything. But that's why I asked it, because I wasn't sure, and you guys are giving me some feedback. Very cool. Very cool. Hey, by the way, I hope you all had a nice Halloween. Just enough trick-or-treaters to make it worth your while. Just enough leftover candy to get you through the weekend. We had a quiet night, about 20 trick-or-treaters in that ballpark, between 20 and 30 or so. That's plenty. Some kids put a lot of effort into their costumes. Very cute. Yeah, man. Okay, you guys. I think I'm good. I'm good if you're good. Last thing of the night. Othello. I bet you remember the game Othello. And what I'm going to do here, this is a nice note to end on. It's a great note to end on, actually. Okay, that's what I'm looking for right there. Why am I talking about Othello? Remember this game? There's a reason. Okay, let's see, this and this and this. Okay, if your screen goes dark, don't even worry about it. Let me see if I can... Okay, see that? All right. So what you're looking at there is an image I pulled off the internet about the game Othello. Any Othello fans out there? All right. So why am I bringing this up? Oh, music fan confirms we had 23 trick-or-treaters last night. There we go. Othello. I played that game as a kid from the Milton Bradley Company. Springfield, Mass. Is that what it says there down the bottom left corner? Okay. The reason I brought up this game, I'm going to end on this note. Look what it says under Othello: a minute to learn, a lifetime to master. Remind you of anything, guitar players? A minute to learn, a lifetime to master. A lot of the stuff that I present to you, to my in-person students or my online students, I present it pretty well. My student understands it pretty quickly, and then the fun begins, right? A minute to learn, a lifetime to master. So that phrase, that saying pops into my head more often than the game makers probably envisioned, but yeah, man. So there you go. That's the influence of, growing up in the 1980s, and my 1980s childhood is showing right now. A minute to learn, a lifetime to master. If you've ever felt that way about the guitar, you're not alone. Yeah. Chances are, whatever you're being asked to do, you understand it, pretty quickly. But sadly, that's not enough. That's not enough, right? Then you have to put in the time, those hours in the chair. Yeah, there you go. Okay, everybody see that? Okay, you guys got to let me know if the screen is black and you can't say anything. All right, there you go. Stop sharing. I see one last question. Yeah, Willie says, a stupid question of the week. Do you think students should practice with a metronome? No, that's not a stupid question, Willie. Yeah, everybody should always practice with a metronome when it's the right time to practice with a metronome. And you don't have to go out and buy one. You can get a metronome app. You guys have heard me recommend the Stage metronome app. That is definitely available for Samsung users. I don't know that's available for Apple, but I'm sure for iPhone users, there's free metronome apps available for you too. And the reason why I say playing with a metronome is great when the time is right. You have to be extremely clear about what you're trying to accomplish. C major scale, got it. C major scale. Because once the metronome starts, there's no time to think about, oh yeah, which finger should I use for this note, or whatever, right? That's the good time to start using metronome. When you understand exactly what you're trying to do, you just want to see if you could do it steadily. And if you can do it steadily at a slow speed, you want to see if you can like I said before, find out how fast is too fast. A metronome is great for that. The metronome becomes your boss, right? All of a sudden, it's not good enough to play something or to understand something. You have to do it at this exact speed. And that's totally different than simply understanding how to do something or being able to play it, generally with, a general level of skill. I've had students who are able to completely tune out the metronome. It's like I didn't even turn it on. They until I kind of course correct them, they play whatever they're going to play as if there's not this loud thing clicking in the room. And other people have a somewhat easier time sort of realizing that the metronome is the boss and everything you're playing has to fit in some capacity, has to fit with the metronome. It's a tricky thing to do. Scott says he likes playing the drum beats. It's more fun than playing with a metronome. Yeah, if you have any source of getting a drum beat, So metronomes, 100% important. We all should be playing with metronomes all the time when the time is right. And ideally, you'd have a teacher, even briefly, confirm that, hey, you are playing with a metronome the way you should. If you're not sure that you're staying with a metronome, you are almost 100% not playing. If you are very confident you're playing with a metronome, yes, then you're doing it. But if you're kind of playing and if there's any doubt in your mind, yeah, it's because you're not with a metronome. And I know that's not very helpful advice, but that's why it's helpful to have someone right there with you to guide you, until I describe it as you get the skill of having one ear tuned into the metronome and one ear listening to your actual thing you're playing, right? That's a pretty good image because your brain has to be divided in half. Half of your brain has to be listening to that metronome and accepting that that's your new boss right there. And of course, the other half monitoring that you're playing what you intended to play, Easier said than done. But the day comes when you get that, and then you can do everything with the metronome, and it can be brutal, but it's also a way to monitor your progress. All right, you guys. On that note, thanks for being here. The live stream number 116 is in the books. I'll see you next Saturday for number 117. We're going to have a good time. I know we are. Take care of yourselves. Play your guitar every day. It's good for your mental health. Don't do it because I said so. Do it because it's a good thing to do. All right, you guys. I will see you next Saturday, and I hope you have a great week. All right, take care.